Okay, so let's start the demo with the new and improved RightFax web client or FaxUtil web edition. As you can see, it is integrated with AD, so it's single sign-on. There is my login in the upper right, my name, so it knows who I am. Pretty nice interface. To view a fax, as always, you just double-click, so we'll show viewing a fax, pretty straightforward. It comes up in its built-in viewer. You have the ability to rotate, zoom in, zoom out. Some of these features, if not all of them, were available in previous versions. I just wanted to go through them real quick. We also do have the ability to annotate. So if I zoom in a little bit here, I can annotate a fax. And what's really nice is, let's say if I had a rubber stamp, so I'll do the John Doe signature stamp. What's nice is once this is on here, I have the ability to save it and then go back to the original version. So there is some basic versioning built into the web client. So let's close this and save. And let's go through some of the things that I know are brand new with 20.2. So first of all, if I go to a fax that has a bunch of pages, we now have a preview on the right. So there it is. So let's look at a fax that's multiple pages here. We'll go over to the right. Let's take a 15-page fax, I see. And you will see that now I can preview all the pages on the right without even going into it. That's brand new with this version, and there it is. So that's the previews on the right. Other new features in the web is the experience sending. So if I go to new fax, you will see a totally rewritten interface. The interface now is full featured and a little quicker. So you can see you start off with the destination, which would be the fax number. So to fax destination, I could put in a fax number. Once you put in a fax number, it automatically goes out to the RightFax phone book and tries to match anyone with that fax number. So I can choose my name. When I do that, if I open up the drop down, you will see all the fields are filled in. So it has my name, my voice number, my company. These fields are the billing codes, so that we defined it in this case as customer and patient name. So this was stored with the phone book entry. So I can put, very nice. You also have the ability, obviously, to add your attachments, either a library document or file. All your additional options are to the right, so your cover sheet drop down with a preview. So you always can view your cover sheet before you choose it. Your comments, your from, all this information was pulled in from Active Directory. Some conversion options here, so you can use different conversion biases to create a PDF. You use an overlay, hold for preview, and change your priority, and other options for sending. Once you have all your information, you hit send, and if you refresh your view, you will see a fax being created and ready to go. Okay, another new feature directly from the RightFax Utility Web Edition is the ability now to do your delegate. So it used to have to be done directly from only Fax Utility, you needed the thick client. So now with the web client, you can also define delegates. So I can define what user or group will have delegate rights to my fax box. Some other things you have under your options here, you have some additional options. So if I look at the options here, here's where we define all our defaults for sending, receiving, notification. So really the bottom line is the Fax Utility Web Edition, it has full feature parity to the thick client. And I really don't see any reason why a customer would install the thick client anymore when you can do the web client. One of the big advantages now is when we upgrade RightFax, the web client upgrades with it. And of course, there is no install needed on your clients. Okay, the next thing I'd like to show is the new fax printer. So what I could do is go up to, let's see, Microsoft Excel, I guess that would be great. Go into Microsoft Excel. I will start a new workbook. I will go File, Print. Make sure I choose the right fax printer. Click print and you will see a new fax dialog box pops up. It looks a little bit like it was based on the web edition. Very similar. You put in your fax number just like before. It matches any phone book entries that have that number in it. You add your message. You have the ability to view your cover sheet directly, change your cover sheet, basically all the things you could do from the web edition and the thick client you could do from the printer. Hit send and it's off. Okay, let's go back to the Internet Explorer here, or Chrome, and let me show you the web admin. So what I'm going to do is from the drop down here, I'm going to choose to go to the web admin. And the big change in the web admin that I mentioned earlier now is your MFPs are all configured and administered directly from the web admin. It's very easy. You can either do one at a time by doing new, putting in the IP address of the MFP you want to push the update out to. You can put a description and network address, push it out, or if you have a file, a CSV file with all the IP addresses, you could do an import. We also have some global settings that define the settings for all your MFPs here. So when you click your global MFP settings, your options come up for that. Okay, the next thing I'd like to show you is the client connections. So you can click on client connections and see all your users that are connected and what they're connected to between RightFax clients and RightFax server utilities. So it's pretty nice if you have to reboot, do maintenance, you know who's on your system, you can take a look and contact them to tell them to please log out or disconnect. After that, let's take a look at the new external connections. So I mentioned earlier that we can have multiple email gateways, and here's where we set up the email gateways right over here. So you go here and you put in a name and then the type, and this is brand new. So we can do FTP, we can do SMTP, POP. So we set up our external connections here. Now, the new one is FTP. So now what you can do is, in all versions of RightFax up to now, we can always deliver to SMTP, we can deliver to Exchange, we can deliver to a network folder. So now we can even deliver to FTP. So what we would do is set up our FTP here, set up our FTP connection. Once we have it defined here in our external connections, we can go to our users. We can go into their route code, their route type. Let's do it. And you'll see if I go to routing type here, I can go to the very bottom and choose FTP. If I choose FTP, what will happen is when a fax comes in for this user, it'll deliver it to the FTP server with the credentials defined through my external connections. We also talked about the multiple gateways and assigning it to groups. So if we go into groups, we will see how we define different groups to different gateways. So I'm going to go and choose a group from my list. I'll choose everyone. And once I'm in group everyone, we will see the new field for defining our external gateway. So down here, preferred email gateway, so I can choose from the drop down. So I might have an Exchange, SMTP, I can have a second SMTP. So I can have different groups use different SMTP servers, maybe spread the load around to different servers based on the group. And then I can define different groups to different time of days. So it can have different groups attached to different gateways during different times of day. Okay, let's close out the web admin. And I did want to show you some new security features. So if I open up Fax Utility and I go File, Open Server, you'll see that the protocol now is automatic and the default is now Secure TCP. So now all connections between RightFax and any clients, so either through the Fax Util, the thick EFM, Enterprise Fax Manager, is all going to be automatic, which will also be Secure TCP IP. Another thing is the administrator now, out of the box, has a default password, no more blank passwords. And you probably saw it with the web interface now is defaulting to HTTPS with a self-signed certificate. Okay, the last thing I'd like to show you during this demo is some of the new changes in some of the RightFax services. Really, the big changes within the server module. So there's a couple of new features here that come up. You will see one of the things is fax utility timeout. This might have been added in the previous version, but I wanted to point that out. What is brand new in this version is high resolution faxing. So I'll talk about that a bit. If you enable high resolution faxing, it doubles the resolution of a fax. The problem is it also doubles the size of the fax. So we only recommend using high resolution if there's a business purpose for it. Because not only is it going to be larger the file, but remember your transmission will be at least twice as long. Right now, an average fax could be 30 seconds to a minute. Now you're looking at 2 minutes or more. But that is a new feature, and if you'd like to enable it, you can. It has to be available on both the sending and receiving fax machine. So you have to make sure that who you're sending to also has the ability to receive high resolution faxes, or they'll drop it down to standard resolution. We do also have some new messages here. So if you receive a fax with too few DIDs, so let's say you're set up your RightFax system for 7-digit routing, and you receive a fax with only 4 digits, you can get an admin alert, which is important because it means that your telecom is not set up properly and they're passing too few digits, so you want to know right away. So that's a really nice feature. So you don't have to worry about losing all your faxes or having them get sent to the administrator because they're not matching a user. You'll be notified and you can hopefully fix it right away.